Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So I wanted to ask you, do you know who's in control? Now, so you may be thinking about, of course, like presidents, prime ministers, leaders of countries. You may be thinking about leaders of corporations. You may even think the globalists, that are controlling things, the military-industrial complex. You can go down a rabbit hole. I'm sure there's a bunch of different answers. Do you know who is in control? I definitely wanted to bring this up, and I kind of touched on this a little bit, but before, but it's really important to really understand this, and it kind of in a way ties to the video yesterday. Are you free? Again, with the question, do you know who's in control? Probably, like I said, you think about more political figures, or the financial, like business, corporate world, stuff like that, or military and stuff. But that's not who's really in control. So I wanted to talk about this. Now I'm going to first of all talk about how I came to this question today. Like I have in some videos in the past. I was basically told to, because it wasn't really something I was thinking about doing. So if you want to skip ahead, feel free to pass this. That's fine, of course. But I'm going. It's interesting because this is how, like, there's no coincidences. Okay, that's why I share this. So because I'm sure it happens in all of our like it does happen in all of our lives, but it's subtle, and so if you're not aware of it, you can really miss the greatest gifts in life. So, anyways. I had, of course, my morning three Bible verses I've talked about, from the three Bible apps, and and I definitely suggest, just downloading an app, at least reading a verse or a few verses every day is better than reading none, because I know we get busy. But anyways, so how I came to this question is I had the three Bible verses and I read them, and this morning I was like, well, this doesn't seem like it's kind of guiding me, and there wasn't anything that kind of happened or anything that popped in my mind that really was like, okay, this is what I should ask today, which was odd, because there's always something. And then what I ended up doing is later on in the day here, I just and I do this sometimes. It's actually fun, because there's no coincidences. But I just opened up my Bible, not looking, just open it up, put my finger on a verse, and then looked and read it. Okay, and that one really made it clear. And then I looked back at the Bible verses I had in the morning, and it was like, yeah, that makes it clear to ask this question: do you know who's in control? All right, so first of all, I'm going to read the verses that I had this morning. Okay, the first one was Romans 14:5, and which says, "One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind." Okay. The second verse was Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 23, which says, "Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord." That's God talking to the prophet Ezekiel. And I was like, okay, yes, okay. And then the third one was Matthew chapter 21, verse 13, which says, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And so, I've read these before, and I was like, okay. I didn't really see a connection. I didn't really see, didn't seem like it really helped me to guide me. And then later on in the day, I was lost. I wasn't sure exactly what to ask. I just opened up my Bible and randomly got to picked a verse, or just had my finger on a verse. And what my finger landed on was Daniel chapter 5, verse 21. Okay? And it was, this is what it says. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beasts, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. And then so when I read that, it well, the wind's really blowing right now. But anyways, when I read that, I went back to the morning verses, and then Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 23. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord. And then I was like, okay, well, that's a connection. Do you know who's in control? And then, then I went back, to those other verses I had in the morning, which the first one was Romans 14:5, but I just went back and read. So I'm going to read verses 4 through 8. Okay. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. He that regardeth the day regardeth it unto the Lord, and he that regardeth not the day, to the Lord he doth not regard it. He that eateth to the Lord, for he giveth God thanks. And he that eateth not to the Lord, he eateth not and giveth God thanks. For none of us liveth to himself, and no man dieth to himself. For whether we live unto the Lord, and whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's. So that's clear. That's pretty clear there that who's in control. Okay. And then I already read Ezekiel, which was the second verse. And then the Matthew verse. I'm going to read, it's chapter 21, and I'm going to read verse 12 along with 13. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. So I hope you caught on there that really all of those are dealing with who's really in control. Okay, who is really in control? This kind of ties with the video yesterday, and I kind of mentioned this a little bit, about being free. When you know nothing is out of God's control, that whatever happens, he either does it or allows it. And even if it's not from a place of love or seems like that, he will use it for an expected end that's good, for a purpose. Because he all knowing. He knows you can't fool God. You can't outwork God. You can't scheme in any way that God doesn't know. Okay? So, we can get kind of caught up with worldly thinking. Whoever has money has control. Whoever owns a bunch of stuff is in control. Whoever is the leader is in control. Whoever has dirt on other people has control. We can get caught up in all this stuff on a macro level, like geopolitical or whatever, worldwide level, or even on a micro level, like in our individual lives. Maybe your significant other has control. Shouldn't go there. But anyways, so, we can get caught up with this. And then sometimes if we get caught up in that, it can cause fear, worry, doubt. Again, kind of like yesterday I mentioned, worrying, thinking about all the what ifs and all the maybes, and that there's uncertainty, and that there is no how should I say, no order. There's randomness, or there's chance for something good to happen or bad to happen, depending on whoever has control, whatever they feel like and decides. That type of feeling, that's a worldly mindset. That's the way most of us, I think. I know I did for most of my life. But it's freeing. The truth will make you free, like I said yesterday, when you know that the Lord is in control. Okay? The Lord has got this. And then when you know He loves you infinitely, He's got your back, then you know there's nothing to worry about, fear, doubt, be scared of. I mean, there's definitely trials and tribulations we go through, and we have to go through these to gain experience and to overcome, to gain confidence. And through these, when you involve God, you build that relationship in that knowing, not just believing and hoping, but the knowing. So I was talking about that yesterday, but I really want to hammer it home in this video that we are the Lord's. The creation is not greater than the Creator. Just like that verse was talking about. Now it's the servant, don't judge another servant. Okay, you can think of us as servants. We're not necessarily servants. We're children of God. But in that time, that was kind of what was said, of course. But don't judge other servants. He's beholden to his master. Don't judge other children of God. We are beholden to our Father. So I really want this, really want you to be able to understand this, because it's not worldly thinking. But when you know that, and that's why also Jesus says, do not judge others, because it's not, we are limited. I've said this before. We all have limited understanding. We're all going through our own trials and tribulations. We all have our own issues, our own, things that we need to overcome. And none of us are the master. None of us are the all-knowing Lord, the creator of all. So that's why try not to judge. I know it seems like a very judgmental time that we are living in, especially with all technology, taking things out of context. Everyone's got their own agenda. And then we try to make fun of other people to make ourselves feel better, because we really don't even know who we are. Really know who we are. And when you know who you are, you don't need to prove anything to any other person. You just need to prove it to yourself, and then and show God. That's who you're beholden to. And the Lord is the Lord. Like, I try to, and I try to stress, of course, that he loves you so much. So don't like live in fear. The Bible does say fear the Lord, but in terms of respect, that he is the Lord, you know, he can just flood the earth if he wanted to, okay? He can just snap you out of existence if he wanted to, okay? It's kind of like when I was young, what my parents would say, I brought you into this world, I can take you out of it. Well, no, he brought you into existence and he can take you out of it, okay? But of course he loves you. He's not going to do that. But you still have to respect the Lord, okay? Respect who is in control, ultimately. And just like those verses we're really talking about, it's just like little children, when we get out of line, sometimes he has to remind us that he is the Lord, okay? If we get too ambitious and our ego gets too wild, burning out of control, or our pride, you know, but it's not because he's got an ego, it's to help us, because we're lost when we do that. We are lost. It's not who we are, what we are, and so it's not true. And so, and the thing is when you really can be blinded by your ego, okay, and pride. I mean, have you ever done something where you kind of knew it was a stupid thing to do, but you were so emotionally, it was your ego or your pride that was on the line, and so you went ahead and just almost, you know, I don't know, you know, it did damage to yourself just because, to try to prove a point, you know, like, it's blinding. That's when it's wild. That's when it's out of control and it does harm to us. And he's trying to basically save us from us, okay? Help us from us. But he is the Lord, okay? So please don't lose sight of that. You don't need to, he loves you, okay? But fear in terms of respect our position as children to the Creator. But don't fear in terms of, like, you know, if you breathe wrong, he's going to strike you with lightning or something, okay? All right? He knows us. He created us. He's known us from the beginning. And that's what's so amazingly special when you really get to know God. Because this world has a lot of perceptions about God that are wrong, and it's done by rulers of darkness or enemy to try to keep us, like I said yesterday, like in that box, keep us from looking up and allowing God to lift that lid and then expand and really see truth, because it's freeing. The enemy wants to keep us in bondage, and a lot of times we keep ourselves in that trap, in that snare, just because we really don't know who we are. We might think we do, but we really don't. Okay, unless you know God, unless you know your Creator, you really don't necessarily know you. Okay, you may think so, but anyways, so I wanted to stress this point. A couple things, like I said. Well, first of all, it's amazing, like, how God works. Okay. And like how things work together, and hopefully in the beginning part there you kind of caught how that worked. I was trying to do it in the way it happened to me, so you can go through that same steps that I went through, the mindset, and then it's like, aha, okay, well, that's what I was missing. But what was cool is I randomly, what made the connection, the final connections to all those verses, was literally just opening my Bible and just pointing to a verse, and then that's the verse that really put it all together, okay? There's no coincidences, okay? So I need to share that, because all glory to him, all glory to our Lord. He's amazing, okay? He's amazing. And it's like magical every day. I talk about this relationship and this walk. It's like magical. It's beyond human logical, physical thinking, and it's really, there's surprises every corner, and they're great gifts that our Creator has for each one of us, specifically for each one of us. And so I know this video is kind of long. Sorry, but I definitely wanted to share how we got to this question. I definitely want to share that we need to respect our position, but don't like cower in fear. Don't, he loves you. But still respect the Lord, because he is the Lord thy God. No matter what you believe, truth is truth. And so, I'm not saying this either to make anyone feel bad. I mean, you believe what you believe. You have to be true. That's important. You have to be true and authentic. But if you really haven't given God a chance, like if you haven't desired him more than anything in the world at any moment, then try it. Just try it, because there's don't fall in the bondage and snares of shame and all that stuff that the enemy tries to use, because that's not God. God is love. And I've talked about the fruits of the Spirit. You can read that. Google Bible verse, fruits of the Spirit. And God is those things. It's not like God does those things. God is those things. And when you make that connection, it changes everything, really. For me, it did anyway. For me, it did. I can say that. So thank you for watching. Please comment below your thoughts. And if you don't agree with me, definitely please share. I would love interaction either way. If you know God is thy Lord, our God, then share and comments, all that stuff down below. And if you like the video, please thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and ring-a-ding-a-ling that bell for notifications to let you know when I upload videos. And as always, stay strong. God bless.